So in this video, I just want to quickly show you how to use Desmos and domain and range restrictions to graph whatever you want. So you're probably familiar with writing equations in Desmos. Something like y equals 3x plus 2. You can also write more exotic looking equations, things like x squared plus y squared equals 5 and get a circle. Or if you want to get really wild with it, you can go x to the third plus y raised to the sine of x equals 45. And you get this really weird looking thing. Let's make it 4. So the point is, whatever equation you want to write, you can still write your equation just the same way. Just we now want to restrict those so that we don't look at the entirety of the graph, but we just look at certain pieces of the domain or of the range. So I'll take the red line first. Remember that in class we use our squiggle brackets. So that's right next to the P, the letter P. And if you just hit shift and hit that, it should turn into a squiggle bracket. Let's say that all I want is this to be between -1 and 4. So I just type -1 less than x less than 4, like that. You notice now that the red line does not go beyond x equals -1 and x equals 4. That's the domain that I've restricted it in. If you want it to include the endpoints, just hit the equals button and it will underline those values right there. The nice thing about including the endpoint is I can actually click on the endpoint right there and get -1, -1. Whereas up here, I can't click on x equals 4. It tells me it's undefined. Maybe you care, maybe you don't care about that. So that's how you can restrict the domain. Let's say I wanted to restrict the range on the circle. So I hit my squiggle bracket, shift, and then the bracket right next to P. Let's say I only want my y values to be less than 1. Okay, restrict the range there. Okay, now I wanted to just kind of look at my weird graph here. Let's say that all I care about is where the y values are less than the x values. But that's another interesting way you can restrict the domain there. I just wanted to show me all the y values that are less than the x values. If I switch that around, the y being greater than the x values, it just shows me the other half. So there are many more exotic things that you can do with this sort of situation, but I just wanted to show you briefly how to restrict the domain and the range. By the way, type in all kinds of weird things. X to the third is less than sine of x to the fourth. Okay, do all kinds of weird things. Let's do sine of x minus cosine x. Don't look that cool. Let's make it x to the sine x. That looks kind of cool. So when you do these inequalities here, you can get really interesting shadings. X squared is less than y plus 3, whatever you want, really. Any sort of curves that you want, you can get them to shade. There you go. That's how you restrict domain and range, and then a little bonus action on making things shade.